Hello, I'm Jeff Tiedemann, the Jet Fan Man. I want to show you how an attic fan can help you save tons of money on your air conditioning, help you keep it 5 to 10 degrees cooler upstairs in your attic, and why you shouldn't have to worry about ridge vents and sucking air out of your house and all those problems that people are talking about on the internet, which is just crazy. Let me explain it to you. It's pretty simple. Here's your attic. You got a sloped roof, you got a level ceiling. So there's this triangle of attic space here, and it gets up to 150 degrees on a hot day. That's pretty hot. I don't care how much insulation you have here. Point is, 150 degrees is really hot. Your roof can get up to 200 degrees with the sun over here shining on your roof. And here you are here in your upstairs rooms, up over here, sitting at your desk in this room, trying to work. Here you are in your chair, but you've fallen off the chair because it's so hot and you're on the ground. Okay? Not a good place to be when you're supposed to be working. In this room over here, here's your bed, okay? Your bed, you're supposed to be sleeping at night. This is where you're supposed to be, but no. You've walked downstairs into the basement and you're sleeping on your basement floor because that's the only place in the house where you can get cool enough. Neither one of these situations is good. We can fix that. The sun beats on your roof all day, the rafters get hot, the shingles get hot, the floor, the ceiling joists get hot, the insulation itself gets hot. Everything is hot because your sun's been roasting your roof all day. It's my sun too, by the way. But anyway, what you can do, simply fix this whole thing without any scientific theories or anything. Just fix it. You put an attic fan right here. It's like this little mushroom thing, okay? Here's the front of your house. Here's your your car. It's parked in the street over here. Your front yard. All right. It's a funny looking car. All right. So you can't see it. What I'm saying is, when you look up here, you don't see the attic fan. It's on the back. It's about 2 feet down from the peak of the roof. And there's a little thermostat box in here which comes with the jet fan. It comes with a thermostat that's adjustable. Don't change it. Just leave it set at 90 degrees. And there's a fire set in there, so the jet fan is safer than other attic fans. And what it does is it turns the fan on and off automatically. So air can come in through your E-vents. You probably already have enough. Air comes in the E-vents here. And when the fan comes on, it just sucks all that super hot air out like crazy. Now, you go on the internet, you read about this, they're saying, oh, it'll suck air out of your house. How? How is it going to suck air out of your house? There's this thing called drywall. You have this drywall ceiling here that's sealed all the way across. It's taped, it's painted. Well, there actually is some ways it can leak. If you have a wall here, there's conduit that goes up the wall, and then maybe it goes across your attic like this into this to the ceiling light or something. So you can get a tiny little trickle of air through these penetrations where the conduit goes to the top plate of your walls. That's a very tiny amount. And if you're worried about it, what you should do, whether you're heating or cooling or whatever you're doing, you should go up there with a caulk gun and seal those little penetrations up. If you really want to save every last ounce of heat and humidity and keep it in your house in the wintertime and stop any negative pressure in your attic from just pulling a trickle of little air through there. And by the way, it's just about enough air to keep a couple people alive in the house. You do need oxygen to live. So, I get a little bit upset when everybody starts sealing up their doors and windows, they seal up their attic, and then they put grandma there and she sits there for 2 weeks and she dies because there's no oxygen. You gotta have oxygen to live, okay? So this little trickle of air you're talking about, it's like, forget about it. Anyway, okay, so you seal it up because you're one of these crazies who like everything sealed up, you don't like oxygen. Or maybe you get a heat exchanger, thousands of dollars, you could do that, it's actually the right answer. But if you're worried about, then these other geniuses say, okay, you got this heater in the basement, right? And, you have this vent going to the heater. So if you get too much negative pressure in your house, it's going to suck air down the chimney, all right? Well, all that can be avoided by E-vents. Got to have that. You got E-vents there, you got E-vents here. You got other mushroom vents on the roof. I can't draw 3D, so I'm just going to take the fan out for a minute. Just a regular mushroom vent is like this. And you want to keep those about 10 feet away or more from the fan so there's cross flow. But those will let air in too. And by letting air into the attic from the outside, you won't get a super strong negative pressure in the house that will suck air down the chimneys. Okay, and if you're worried about that, because I know you guys like to worry, just go over to a basement window here, okay, and just open this window a couple inches right here. So if there is like a negative pressure, you know where the air is coming from. It's coming through this innocent little window over here. Okay, put a filter in it if you want to. Put a screen on it. But that way you'll know you have oxygen to breathe. That's very important. Okay, so I want to talk about ridge vents. So they say you can't have an attic fan with a ridge vent. It's not true, you can. So let me just explain to you what I've seen happen with ridge vents over the years. They started out with a sheet metal ridge vent, and it went kind of like this. and it was kind of big and stuck up. But anyhow, when the wind and the snow would come like this, it would, you know, blow up like this and blow right into the vent and form a big pile of snow up inside your attic. So what the ridge vent manufacturers decided to do is make a different kind of ridge vent that you can shingle right over it. Okay, so you've got this Brillo pad kind of material, and then you shingle over that. All right. So problem is, they put so much material in here to stop the rain and snow from blowing in. It also doesn't let much air out. In fact, if you just get one of those little regular mushroom vents I was talking about, one of these little boxes, those let in a lot more air. And if you're not sure, which is what, you can check for the net-free venting area. That's the NFA. And some of these vents will have it printed right on the vent. It'll say 50, you know, square inches of net-free venting area. If you look at the fine print on these ridge vents, you're going to find this wimpy little net-free venting area. And if you have a hip-style house where there's a slope on every side of the house, then you don't even have a ridge. So how can you use a ridge vent? I mean, maybe you'll have a short ridge. There's just not enough, you know, there's not enough ridge line for there to be a ridge vent that actually does any good. But even when they're long, they don't let out a lot of air. So there's this theory. There's this theory that, you know, cool air will come in here and the hot air will go out through the ridge vent. And so they had to have this really technical theory about how this air has to travel up like a laminar flow up to this ridge vent and get out. And you know, that works. It really does. It works, but it doesn't work very well. I mean, it's a theory. You know, it moves a little bit of hot air out, but the truth of the matter is your attic will get to 150 degrees faster with a ridge vent than it will any other kind of vent. So they say you can't have an attic fan with a ridge vent because all the air is going to come in from the ridge vent and go to the attic fan. Do you know that it's true? A little bit of air will come out of the ridge vent and go to the attic fan, but that's the point. It's just a very little amount of air. See, ridge vents don't do much at all, in or out. So let's say you did have a little leakage here. That's going to be very little air compared to the amount of air that's just free flowing in these eave vents. So one thing you might want to do is you know, if you're okay, I know you like to worry. So if you do have a ridge vent like that, just instead of putting your fan like 2 feet down, why don't you put it 3 feet down? So your fan is centered 3 feet down over here, just a little bit lower on the roof. But that's if you just like to worry. I mean, you know, just gets a little further away from the ridge vent. You won't have so much like Bernoulli's effect coming across the point here going to the fan, where you know could get some Bernoulli's sucking a little extra air. But we're talking tiny, a little bit of air. Once that fan comes on, everything in your attic that's open is going to be an intake vent, whether it's on the ridge, whether it's on the gable wall. You know, you got these gable wall vents, like louver vents at the end of the wall. Doesn't matter what you do. Just so, you know, with our model 727, you have to have 560 square inches of net-free venting area. That'd be about 11 of these little mushroom vents. That'd be about 11 of these E-vents if they're this 8 by 16 size. Or if you have a screened opening like a louver vent in the end of the house with a screen, you can count half of that. Because it has a screen, you can only count half of that area because the screen will block some of the airflow, especially if it's a fine screen, if it's fine and it's small holes. You know, they're starting to insulate these attics like crazy. So, you know, this insulation keeps getting higher and higher and higher. So it's very important that you have these things, I don't know what you call them, there's 10 different ways things people call them. I just call them air channels. All right, it's like a hat-shaped channel. It goes like this. You picture it 3D like this. And what you do with these, hold on, I'm thinking. Okay, so air can, this is like your roof decking here, and the insulation butts up to the bottom surface here, and air can travel through these. And you put these air channels right here. So as you pile insulation higher and higher, there's still a path for air to get through. It's very important. You got to have that. And then it's important to realize too why this makes such a big difference in your attic. Your attic gets 150 degrees on a hot day. You're trying to keep it 80 in here. There's a 70-degree difference, I think. Yeah. So, I mean, that's a big difference. I mean, everything gets hot. There you go. For more information about attic fans, you can go to atticfans.com. That's attic fans with an S.com. if you already decided you want to buy one of our jet fans, you can do that too. Different website. Just okay, you can go straight there if you want. So jetfanusa.com. Or you can just call. Yeah, there's this really cool number you can call. It's 800 Jet Fan 3. Oh, in numbers, that is 800 538 3263. So keep your attic cool in the summer and keep it dry in the winter with Jet Fan. I don't think I told you we have a humidistat too that you can put on the fan as an option. If you've got an unexplained humidity problem in your attic, you see black stains on your wood, or if you go up in the wintertime and there's frost on the roof or up there, dew, dampness, mold, rot, whatever, you want to prevent all that, right? Keep it dry. So a few things you got to keep in mind. A lot of times, especially in the northern states, in the United States, people have humidifiers on their furnace because it's better for your health. It's better for the wood floors, the wood furniture. Everything's better when it's you have normal humidity. But a lot of times they'll set the humidity too high. The colder it is outside, the less humidity you should have inside. And the way you'll know readily and easily is by looking at your windows upstairs. If there's steam on the inside of your windows, that means there's steam in your attic too. It gets up there. Water vapor is actually lighter than air. It's always trying to get up into your attic. So that's the first thing to check, is make sure that you get the table, download it online or whatever. There's a table that says whenever the outside air temperature is cold and certain levels of cold, then you change the setting on your humidistat for your furnace so that you don't have too much humidity on the really cold days. Because on the really cold days, that vapor that's normally not a problem during the summer or when it's warm becomes a problem in the wintertime. And so then the other thing you look for dampness in your attic is bathroom fans. A lot of times bathroom fans are just vented right into the attic. Or sometimes they'll try to run a 4-inch round duct over to the eaves and vent it out through the eaves, which is better than nothing. But to tell you the truth, most of that hot, humid air just turns around and comes right back up inside the attic because hot, humid air likes to rise. And I've actually seen attics where there's this black stain coming up from where they've tried to vent the bathroom fans, over into the eaves at the edge of the attic. So the best way to do it is to have them vented out with insulated duct through a roof jack damper on the roof. So all the hot, humid air coming out of the bathroom fan continues to rise up and go out through the roof. The other thing you got to look for is kitchen fans. Obviously, you don't want those blowing in there. That's even worse. Could you imagine boiling water on your stove and blowing that into your attic? Ridiculous, right? And then a lot of times houses don't have vapor barriers, and there's not a lot you can do about that. Otherwise, if you don't have a vapor barrier, you got to pull all your insulation out, put down a vapor barrier, and put all your insulation back in. It's kind of a lot of work. But the way to make up for that, if you don't have a vapor barrier, is you add more venting in your attic. So if any moisture does get up there, it has a way to get out. With or without an attic fan, more static venting will help alleviate that. And then sometimes how homes are built in an area where there's just high water table, and that the moisture from the ground, will come through the concrete. It's you won't even see it on the concrete. It won't be like leaking water in your basement. It's just that concrete is porous, and the vapor can come through the concrete and evaporate into your house and be creating all this vapor in your house, and you don't even know where it's coming from. So there's different situations like that. But one caution I will say is that if you do have a humidistat on your attic fan, be sure that there's enough intake ventilation so that you get all the air needed to ventilate the attic from outside. That is especially important in the wintertime. All right, thanks for listening. And I got to tell you this thing. There was this fish. Yeah, there's this fish. There's this fish swimming along, just really swimming, swimming. This fish is swimming hard. He's swimming and he smacks right into a cement wall. So what'd the fish say? Fish said, "Damn,